I literally can't see without my glasses on. I hope it doesn't reflect now. Okay. For most of the time when I was doing sponsored videos, I was sending them back proper fuzzy and not focused because I didn't have glasses at the time. And I was like, I don't need glasses, I'm just looking for attention. Lo and behold, I did. Now you might be thinking, Keelan, you look so weird. Or you might be thinking, Keelan, you look so good. Well, I do have a bit of makeup on because I have a meeting, which makes me sound so important. Like, doesn't that sound so hot? Missy is in heat at the moment. And I know in my last video I was like, she won't stop whinging. This is before she even went into heat. So she is whinging anyway, just in her natural day-to-day life, but she also is in heat now. So which makes her extra annoying. We try to keep her up as much as possible during the day and like play with her and make sure that she's like engaging with us so that she's not up all night. But she's just up all night anyway. She's just up all night screaming. Like, it's crazy. That bitch wants her hole so bad. It's been going on for about 3 or 4 days. So it does look like I have 2 black eyes underneath. I talked about in my last video that I was feeling a bit sick. I could only eat beige foods. Well, my sickness has gone. I was going to deep clean the flat today because, you know, the smells of things is just, it's just the nausea. I run out of energy pretty quickly. I nearly fainted in the shower this morning, and I did nearly almost faint in the shower yesterday. My body odor is absolutely rancid. I smell like, you know, if you went to a mixed school, there was always one teenage boy that like did not shower or did not know how to shower. God bless him, his parents like were neglectful maybe now, but you know, everyone was like slagging him while you were in school. But then when you turn into an adult, you realize like he probably had a hard life at home. Anyway, so if you can imagine the smell of that boy, I smell like that every morning. I mean, I'm putting on deodorant and I'm showering every day and I still smell like that in the morning. I don't know what is going on. It's like stale onions and BO. I took a shower today, scrubbed myself down. Like my skin is literally red raw. No wonder I'm nearly fainting in the shower. And I have it on the highest heat as well. And I'm like, now I do only use a natural like eco deodorant. Maybe I need to use something a bit stronger, but I am a bit scared of deodorant. I'm like a total walking contradiction. Like I used to chain smoke, but I wouldn't wear deodorant because I'd be like, there's carcinogens in them. Do you know what's so annoying as well? This is like not relevant at all. But when I was like big into going to climate protests, I still am, but they're just not, I'm not like as involved in the community here in London as I would be if I was in Dublin. But anyway, when I was big into the climate protests, I would like put up stories of me and my sisters afterwards, and Saoirse had like a iced coffee and someone goes, is it not a bit hypocritical that you're going to climate protests and your sister has a plastic straw? Oh my god, like those people are just so annoying. Like, get a life. Oh my god, it's so boring. Do you know, me and my other sister Ellie were talking about this last night. People get away with being boring so much these days. They get away with being boring all the time, and it needs to stop. And I don't mean boring as like, oh, you have no unique personality traits and you don't have anything that's different, you're a sheeple. I don't mean in that way proper, like you need to get your own. Like, I love people who like popular things. I don't think that there's anything wrong with liking something that's popular or having similar interests to other girls. Do you know what I mean? It's not in that sort of way where you need to have a unique, not a unique individualistic approach, but more so like just like focusing on so much on other people's lives and caring so much about what they do and being just really, it's just being judgmental. But I would put that in the same category. I would compartmentalize that as someone who's boring. It's the profile of someone who would text being like, plastic straw, question mark. Oh, you know when someone's trying to go vegetarian and someone's always trying to catch you out and it's like, chicken, question mark. Oh my god, like get a life. The uproar when I had an egg in my video, there was egg discourse in the comments of my video. I do believe there's a responsibility when you have like when people are following you and you interact with those people all the time, like if I'm commenting back and all, there's a responsibility you have to uphold where, you know, you've created a parasocial relationship with these people and sometimes you do owe them explanations. Like if I started going back to eating red meat, then I would explain why. I would find that like out of character and people would be kind of shocked. For example, if people originally had followed me because I was vegan or whatever, and then I just randomly started eating meat without an explanation, then I kind of understand. But like, I have talked before about how I wanted to have chickens and I still sometimes eat eggs, and then but I'd never kind of been so overt about it or like to showing a fried egg on my story or in my video or like on my story. Do you know what I mean? Because I am conscious that there will be people being like, egg, question mark, and that's more so the people who aren't like a consistent viewer. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be like, they're not a stan. Do you know? You know what I mean? It's like they don't know enough, or they don't pay attention enough, and I just feel like I'm constantly explaining myself, where I thought that I'd gone to the point where I wouldn't have to explain myself if, why am I talking about this? So I wanted to deep clean the apartment. Tangent I went on there. I really want a new pair of glasses. What was I saying? Yeah, I wanted to deep clean the apartment today because I'm not feeling nauseous anymore, thank God. Thanks everyone. But Missy did take a huge dump in the ensuite, and you know, it's not gone to the point where I'm so nauseous that I won't puke if there's something that smells really bad. Now, I do still gag at the smell of the air fryer, and I really, really regret getting Jason one for Christmas because he loves the air fryer. Like, he loves that air fryer more than me. When we're talking about packing for stuff going back to Ireland, I'm like, we're gonna need to size down, like, we're talking about whether we should give up Missy or not. Like, it's getting that to that much, you know, not give her up. We have a few options of like who would adopt her that are like really good, responsible people. Anyway, what I'm saying is, you know, it's getting to the extent where it's getting serious, you know? And he's like, there's no way I'm leaving the air fryer behind. He is not leaving that air fryer behind. There's just no chance. And like, Jason has never been into cooking that much. He's a big baker. He's never been into cooking, do you know? But the air fryer has changed the game for him, and I just hate them. I hate them with a burning passion, like to the point where even if it's much easier to make something in the air fryer, I will do everything in my power to avoid using the fucking air fryer because I hate it that much. I really, really hate it. Yeah, so Missy's taking a dump in the ensuite. I can't empty out her litter tray for health reasons, so I'm gonna have to wait till either Jason gets home for his lunch to do it, which is, I always, like, that's another thing I feel like I'm making it up, but it's like actually recommended by my GP that I'm not supposed to go near the litter tray. He has to empty out the litter tray for me, so I've just lit an incense and I've opened the windows, but there's actually genuinely nothing I can do until he comes back, and if I do go in there, I will vomit. And I did go in initially because when she is taking a shit, I have to close over the door because I hate the sound for scratching and I don't want to smell it. So then when I opened it to let her out, the fumes that came out of it was like the heat. It was as if it was 2 weeks worth of shit that had just come out of her. And I don't know what it is about cat shit. Cat shit and piss is the worst smelling animal feces ever to have graced the earth. It's like, it's not natural. You know when you go to Kildare Village, I don't know if this is like a universal experience. You go to Kildare Village and it just smells like pig shite. It just smells like pig shite. You're getting the sales and it's the outlets, and it's all like designer, and everyone's getting their sales and their designer. And everyone's just trying to move past the fact that it does smell like pig shite, the whole experience. Anyway, so she is getting neutered on the 2nd of February. She's had it booked in for about a month, but I have a really important appointment now on the 2nd of February. At the exact same time that she is getting neutered. And it's also one where it's like, you can bring your partner, do you know what I mean? And you can bring someone with you, but I actually can't now. Jason has to bring her to the fucking vet. Thanks, Missy. So now I have to go to the doctor on my own, and they have to like take my bloods and everything, and I nearly faint when I'm in the shower. So imagine what it's gonna be like when they take my blood. I'm gonna be like, ugh. I'll be fine. I might get an Uber home. Oh yeah, so because I've gotten my energy back now and I'm not feeling as nauseous, I've taken the time to really look after myself, because this year, I will be able to talk about it more, but this year is all about me. It's just really great, really nice, lovely things have been happening in my life right now, and a really positive time for me. This year I've decided to indulge and make sure that I'm really looking after myself because I think that I deserve it. Like, suck it up. It's a really, really good year. It's really good. So, because I've just gotten really good news and I'm really proud of myself. I'm looking after myself this year, not being so mean to myself, because I think that I deserve it. I've even started like massaging my scalp at night with serum. I booked myself a massage later. Good things happening this year and I'm really happy. Even though it doesn't seem like it. But one of the things for self-care that I find that's really important for me is getting in touch with my inner child, because I think I lost a lot of years when I was younger, like to just different things. So I've been trying to get in tune with my inner child and like heal a lot of things. It could be really, really small things like writing my to-do list with different coloured markers and like gel pens. Me and Jason made Rice Krispie cakes. I walked around Victoria's Secret because my inner child as well is probably like 12 to 15. You know, it would have been around that age. You want all those things like Uggs and Victoria's Secret perfumes and fucking Juicy Couture tracksuits. So I'm glad they're in again because now I get to relive it. By the way, oh my god, horror story, agency horror story. This will distract me for a second. So I was represented by this like agency, and I've recently cut ties with them because I was just like, you don't answer my emails. Anyway, so I did something that was like meant to be paid that I had done last September. I was like emailing them incrementally every 2 or 3 weeks, and they'd be like, yes, we're chasing this for you babes, kiss 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 kiss, which is like so unprofessional. And I was like, this is really insincere, like I'm just not getting my money back. So eventually and then there was other things like they'd email you for PR or gifting, and it would be like homeware and nice things like that, and I'd be like, yes please, I'd love one of these, and then they would just never email me back or like never answer. And then eventually they stopped answering when I was like asking for my money. So the other week I was like, hey, can you just take me off the roster on the website please? And they were like, no problem babes. So yeah, that was the stupidest shit ever. I've just decided I'm just not gonna get that money back. It's not worth the hassle. My vibrations right now are too good. But yeah, I'm gonna blow my nose and come back. That's so embarrassing. Yeah, another thing, watching like old YouTubers, My Life as Ava, like highly saturated. Do you know what I'm obsessed with? And it's just something that is so cathartic and therapeutic to me. It's like when men go to release from their house lives because they're just overwhelming. Yeah, the wife is doing everything. Buddy, by the way. But anyway, they go to like watch the races to let off some steam. This is like the equivalent of me watching people curate lunch boxes for children. Now I am on that TikTok. It's like full of it on my For You page. Particularly this woman who goes, every single video starts off the same, let's make some lunch for Adeline. Let's make some lunch for Adeline. And she like cuts them. Now it's totally wasteful and I would never do it myself. Absolutely not. Because they cut all the fruit and veg like with these little cutie kitty cutters like into flowers and hearts and stuff, and I just like the food waste that probably creates, unless they have like a dog or something that's eating it, or the mom is eating it herself, but she doesn't really preface that. And personally, if I was doing that, I would preface that because it is stress. That's the only thing that's like stressful about the whole thing. But anyway, other than that, she like has a thermos where she puts like chicken noodle soup, and sometimes she gives her leftover dinners. Now the child has like a really broad palate, so it is working. Like Cora literally will only eat spaghetti bolognese, and even at that she still sometimes doesn't eat it. She's like, no, I don't want it. When she gets chipper, she like won't eat the bun and will only eat the burger patty. She's a real carnivore. So I have a real fear of like my children not being able to eat, because that would stress me out so much. I don't care about the tantrums, and if they get sick, no problem, I'm gonna freeze my umbilical cord and feed it to them. Breastfeeding, the whole works. But when they get to the solids and they're picky, oh my god, it's gonna stress me out, because I want to be able to encourage the whole like eat whatever you want, and I have a real fear of projecting an eating disorder, even though I've never had an eating disorder, of like projecting an eating disorder onto a child, because you are making like a member of society yourself, and you're raising them. Like that's such a big responsibility to have. I just think it starts from the food that they eat, and the relationship with food is just so important. It's so like people forget the cultural significance of food as well. I think especially in westernized countries like Ireland and the UK, we don't really have like a food culture. Like what do we, you know, what's Irish food? A stew. Well, I suppose potatoes is like very culturally significant for us, which is, you know, I love a good potato. I can't deny I do love a good potato. But like imagine my child grew up and like wouldn't eat potatoes. I'd be like, what's wrong? Your ancestors are literally turning in their grave right now. Do you know how much we fought for this? But I also I want to be like, eat what you want. I don't want to be force feeding them stuff, because I don't think that works either in child rearing, where they're like, eat another plate of peas and I'll let you have dessert, when they're actually like gagging at the table. You know, I'd want to be able to create a variety and figure out what they like by just constantly making new foods. So yeah, maybe that's a bit trivial, and I'm just actually, if there's any moms that watch me, like let me know, am I overreacting? I know there are some moms that watch me who are probably my favorite. Like imagine a mom liking you. That's the best validation ever. I get such a rush when other people's parents like me, because I had a big thing in primary school where I got into some trouble when I was around 10 or 11, and now before this I was a really anxious like loner child, but then when I got to like 10, 11, 12, I was really bold and really mean. So I got into some trouble. It ended up that the police actually came to my house. Like that's how big it was. I don't think I'll ever give a story time because it is actually kind of traumatic, but I didn't do anything. It ended up that I was, you know, I was 10, do you know what I mean? I was 10 years old, so I'm not really blaming myself, and I don't want to bring it up again. But anyway, the police came, and then from then on I wasn't allowed to go to my best friend's house because her mom was like, no, she's a bad egg. I wasn't invited to anyone's birthday parties, obviously, because everyone was like, it was a real school where everyone had a house mom, whereas like I had working parents and there was a bit of benign neglect going on, do you know? Yeah, so I wasn't allowed to go to anyone's house or go to anyone's birthday. Where did this come from? So that's why I love parental validation now, or that aren't my own well, I do like validation off my own parents as well. It's like probably the only thing I crave, and why I'm such an attention seeker. I'm not that big of an no, I'm stopping with the negative self-talk, and that has negative connotations with it. I'm not an attention seeker, I'm just a very bubbly person, and I do like, you know, to be stimulated, you know what I mean? But yeah, parental validation, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it, because I missed out on those years, and obviously there was a lot of shame and regret attached to little child Keelan. This is gonna be real, like I'm gonna get someone from primary school sending me an anonymous message being like, I know what you did last summer. Like, it's crazy the shenanigans that kids get up to, isn't it? I don't understand people who had like, you know, really normal childhoods. Well, Jason probably had more of a tumultuous one than me. I'm just a bit like, wah, my life was so hard. Whereas Jason was like, well, listen to what happened to me, and I'm like, never mind, you know? I can't wait to be a house mom, because I just know that I'll always have a job or career that requires me to be at home, or I could do from home, or I'll be self-employed, you know, so it'll be a bit easier. So I can't wait to have other friends who are also housewives, because at the moment, you know, in your early 20s, all your friends like have jobs. I'm like, just no one's schedule matches up with mine. I'm just being selfish. Do you know who I miss? Saffron Barker. Whatever happened to her? Whatever happened to her? I genuinely, you know, when she was doing the daily vlogs, I genuinely think I watched every single one. Like, I would not miss an episode. And I think my second boyfriend can vouch for that, because like he knew who she was, because I was such a regimented, like, consistent viewer. Like, it was constant. Like, I knew what was going on in her life, and I wanted those updates. Now, I am on YouTuber slander TikTok now, like slagging Tanya Burr for acting. They're fucking hilarious. I never watched her, and I never watched Zoella. I was never into them, because they were like, they just seemed too vanilla or something. Saffron Barker had a bit of spice, because she was giving, it was serving privileged, it was serving like ignorance is bliss, and I love that buzz. When her and her friend went recorded themselves like giving food to a homeless person, and then when Saffron, like, she was on a train and someone jumped in front of the train, and she was like complaining that she couldn't get home in time. So bad, but it was so good. Just finished watching her at like the start of COVID, I think. Like, that's how dedicated I was. Like, before we went into lockdown or anything, she was like giving out that COVID had started because like she was going on a skiing holiday or something. Like, it's so good. Love her though. Bring her back. I'm actually kind of hungry, to be honest. I think I might eat something. Careful.
Goodness, I don't have to do it.
Do you want me to do it? Yeah, you're doing it.
Do I put it down on the chalkboard?
No, you just, it already has a wrapper, like, Missy,
get down, come on. What's going to be parchment paper?
Yeah, put down some parchment paper. You have to preheat the oven, love.
Now what do you do here?
Unroll it. And then you break them apart.
How long do you break it for again?
I just do it until they're brown. It usually takes around 8 minutes. Boop. Boop. You roll it up like this. And you roll it like this. And then you flip them like this when they're cooking.
Why?
You start from the bum.
I always start from the middle. Because then you just can throw away a perfectly good piece of bum. Because I'm not going to eat the bum.
Wait, what?
I always start from the middle.
We are so different.
Are you going to eat that?
Yeah.
The bum? How many pieces do you want?
I want 2, lovey. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Mimi, get away from the food.
I'm not melting.
Oh, I didn't expect them to look like this.
Why? That's exactly what I expected them to look like. What flavour are they?
Mango and passion fruit.
Nice. Can I show?
You know when you like see sweets on the telly or in movies when you're a kid? This is like what you imagine them to taste like.
Okay, my turn. A bit too sweet.
You don't like it?
I like it. It's very sweet though. I wouldn't eat more than one.
No, let it play with it, it's fine.
Do you want a fried egg?
Yeah, love it, please.
1 or 2?
1.
What do penguins wear to the beach?
I don't know what.
Flipper flops.
That was bad.
Oh, we should have a video for it. Oh, you can add that in, can't you?
Yeah. Do you want to rate the day?
9. Because I have a little bit of a headache.
You always have a headache.
I know.
Ew!
Put that in the video.
What?
Put that in the video.
What do we do next?
Let's go to Selfridges, have a look around.
And then what do we do?
Go to a gallery. Then we'll go to Lidl and do a food shop.
Okay. You're stinking up the place.
Fire?
Fire! I'm so tired.
Oh.
Do I look tired?
What?
Do I look tired?
No, you look beautiful.
I was up all fucking night.
Up all night with the cat. Being a brat she is. Switch what?
Switch it off. I have a better idea.
Maybe a bit earlier than that.
Will you probably won't be at Surrey Keys at that time then, would you?
I don't know, Jason. Yeah, I probably will be because I live close to Surrey Keys. Surrey Keys is only like a 15-minute journey for me.
Okay, well keep us updated anyways.
Okay, bye guys. Love
Beautiful,
you.
bye.
Bye,
Bye.
I'm also not drinking Ikea, so we keep you on the 0, 0.
0.
It's working now.
It's twerking.
It's working now.
It's twerking.
Hey, look at them.